and this is the patch 7.1 update for Warlocks. Affliction saw some changes. They changed the functionality of a Unstable Affliction. It no longer is just a stacking buff on a single ID, it is now several IDs. In fact, it's 5 of them. So I've made a couple changes to compensate for the new one. What you're seeing here is what will happen if you play with the Contagion debuff. Or sorry, the Contagion buff. You'll now be able to track the Unstable Affliction via that bar that cools down in the center, and it should just make it easier for you to understand when the next time you need to cast Unstable Affliction is, and the rotation has been adjusted to go ahead and tell you that, and I've also implemented a timer onto the Unstable Affliction icon, so you'll know how much time exactly is on the debuff itself. But the bigger thing is that there are now 5 different Unstable Affliction auras that are in the game, each one triggering after the previous one, so it's just a constant loop. So there's a trick to getting it to work the way that I wanted it to. The way that the game tracks it is your first Unstable Affliction cast will be 1 aura always, and then all the other ones cast after will be one of the other 5 auras. So I've been trying to figure out a way to make it easier for people to see how many of these you have on a single target, and the way I came to working it around was I put a space for different icons, 5 total, to show up, and once we get to 3 soul shards here, I'll show you what I mean. The rotation has been adjusted as well, so once you cast your first one, it will go ahead and tell you to cast the next one, and tell you to cast the next one, and keep telling you to cast the next one until you run out of soul shards, and this will only happen when the first icon is available, so you should never run into an issue where you're constantly being told to feed your soul shards. It's just one of the changes to Affliction, and the rotation does account for it now. Another bunch of changes actually came in Demonology, not so much in the rotation, but more in just the appearance of the profile. This is something I've been working on over the course of the expansion, and it's just something that I've tried to tweak and make a little easier to read. The bigger thing was in the last build, I put in some pet summon trackers. I went ahead and made them larger. So this is what it looks like now. I went ahead and moved the Demonic Empowerment to be a bar above the profile, and your rotation is still in the same place it was before. Important cooldowns such as the Command Demon ability are on the top, as well as your Summon Dreadstalkers on the right, and all talents are on the bottom. Your pet tracking on the left and right there, represented by the totem icon, that will just go ahead and let you track how long you have until your pet is despawned, whatever the pet may be, and it should just make it easier for you to go ahead and decide when you want to use Thelkul's consumption. Other things are, I went ahead and highlighted Demonic Empowerment like before, similar to how Doom is highlighted when it's not active, so you should just see a few icons highlighted here and there telling you this is an opportune time to either rebuff or debuff or do whatever you need in between, and yeah, you should just have an easier time tracking the important information. It's much more visual than it was before. One big thing when it comes to these specs is understanding exactly what you're trying to do and when you're casting, and a lot of that has to come with cooldown consumption and things. I actually don't play with the rotation turned on when I'm doing this for myself, because I understand the correlation between soul shards and my cooldowns, so I would recommend trying to get used to that as well if you can, and just use the rotation as a quick guide if needed. For Destro, nothing really changed here. I went ahead and changed the rotation slightly so it's a little bit more considerate of your soul shards when it comes to your Chaos Bolt casting, depending on your talents as before. But there is now a conflag tracker on the right, so you can see how long it is until you get your first charge back. But yeah, that's it for this profile. Like the other profiles, there is a toggle in the top left that you can use to disable any of the 3 profiles. But yeah, I hope you guys like what you see, and I'll catch you in the next video.